Good evening, good people. Welcome to another 203K Tuesday. I am your host, Aaron, the house person. And of course, this is the place you come to find out everything you don't know about the 203K loan and learn how you can use that loan to help create, build, and sustain generational wealth. So, last week we went over one step. Hopefully, you guys took notes and have that same sheet of paper readily available so you can take notes this week. All right. So let's jump right into this week's lesson, this week's step, and see you on the other side.
Hey, what's going on, good people? Aaron, the house person here, director of the 203K Done Your Way program, where we economically rehabilitate the community one house at a time, and we do so by educating you about the 203K process and then walking you through that process from start to finish, ultimately helping you, of course, make that ugly house pretty again, right? But also, what we do is show you the power of the product, power of the loan, and if used correctly, help you create, build, and sustain generational wealth. So, last few days been talking about the 203K Done Your Way process to do just that, right? To help you make that ugly house pretty again. So I don't know if you guys remember. Step one was to hire your realtor. Step two, hire your lender, get your find out what your buying power is. Step three was when you get to go house shopping, and today is step four. After you've done some house shopping and identified a property that you think you want to move forward with, at that point, you got to get some numbers. You got to figure out how much it's going to cost you to fix this house up, right? Two sets of numbers. One set, you got to get your after repair value, after renovation value, whatever you want to call it, right? How much it's going to be worth once the renovation is done, and you're going to get that from your realtor. Now, if you're working with the 203K experienced realtor, or a realtor who is an investor or works with investors, they can probably give you a ballpark figure of how much it's going to cost to fix the house up. And don't hold them to that, because that's not what they do. But they can give you a rough estimate. They can say, okay, looking at this, you're trying to get a new bathroom from ground up, might run you about 15, depending on the finishes. You're trying to renovate the bathroom you have now, might run you 8 to 12. They can give you some rough figures. So that way you can kind of calculate, okay, based off of everything they said, I'm going to need at least this. Could be more, but I'm going to need at least this amount of money. Does that work for the price of the house and after repair value and the amount that you're approved for or pre-approved for? So, but you got to get those numbers, right? And in this step, you're also, depending on the scope of the project, if it's 35,000 or less, you're going to be doing a limited 203K loan. If it's above 35,000 and or structural, so 35,000 or less and non-structural, you'll be doing a limited. If it's 35,000 or more, or is structural, right? If it's more than 35,000 or structural, that's going to be a full 203K loan, standard 203K loan, the consultant K, right? And at that point, you're going to need to hire a 203K consultant, who I call your small forward, your swing man. That person is who is between you and the contractor initially, and then going to be between the bank and the contractor after you close on the property. But either way, their job is to protect you and to protect the bank's interest and to hold the contractor accountable, hold their feet to the fire, make sure that they do what they're supposed to do when they are supposed to do it. So you definitely want to get your consultant hired. If you're getting a standard, right, 35 or more than 35, excuse me, consultant is mandatory. Depending on what lender you're working with, they may have some people, or they should have some people if it's a 2 or 3K lender, which it will be, because that's the requirement, right? Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to do the scowl, is that what you call it? Yeah, that's what you call it. I'm probably saying it wrong, but don't judge me. Anyway, you're gonna be working with the 203K lender because that's the requirements, right? That's what you're supposed to do when you're assembling your team. And they're gonna have consultants that they work with and they can recommend. Now they via FHA, they're supposed to be the one picking the consultant, but doesn't mean that you can't bring to them a consultant that you've found and interviewed and got a good vibe with, and say, hey, look, I got this person. I want you to check them out and see if if it's okay to work with them. They're not going to necessarily be opposed to that. So, but if it's more than 35 and or structural, you got to hire that consultant. Now, you don't have to have a consultant for limited, but it's suggested. It does cost a little money. It does. The fees are set by HUD, so it's a guaranteed fee. You will have to pay some money up front for what they do, for the work write-up, the specification of repairs, but they're going to be basically making sure that the things that are needed in the house, as far as like the FHA mandatory things, are checked off the list. They're going to be checking to make sure it's even feasible to do that project in the first place. And they're going to make sure or give you prices on the things that you want, your wish list, right? And so they're going to create the SOR. That SOR is, again, specification of repairs. You're going to give that to the contractors in order for them to bid. So everything's going to be written out. This is all the things you need. Give that to them, or to the contractors. The contractors are going to put in the labor, and they're going to put in material costs. And then you're going to get those from the contractors and figure out which contractor you want to work with, because at this phase, you're going to be hiring a contractor as well. So you got to vet your consultant. You got to vet your contractors. Get your numbers from the consultant. If you're doing a standard, if you're doing a limited and you don't want to use a consultant, you can go ahead and just get the numbers straight from the contractor. But what you want to do is, here's why a consultant is important, because they're going to have things streamlined, right? So that way the contractors are reading from the same sheet of music and there's no variance, no in between. If you try to put together a list of your own, you may be walking around with various contractors and then they say, hey, what about this? And you're like, oh, yeah, let's do that too. But you didn't tell the other contractor that, so they're not bidding on the same job. Contractor A, you told them about this, or they saw that and you said, oh yeah, that'd be great. Contractor B, you mentioned that. Contractor C, you mentioned this, but you didn't mention that, but you added this. You know what I mean? So you gotta be on the same sheet of music with these people, so that way you can actually really compare apples to apples versus just like, well, this one told me it was 45, this one said it was 37, and the other one told me it was 32. Well, that's because you was giving them different things to do, and because they charge what they charge. So that's one of the many important reasons why having a consultant in place will protect you. All right, but nonetheless, no consultant or consultant. If you don't get one, you definitely gotta at least have something on the same sheet of music. Something saying, hey, this is exactly what I need. This is exactly what I want. The downside is, without that consultant, you don't know if you've checked all the boxes for FHA until you get further down the line, and then you're going to have to use some of that contingency reserve in order to get those things done, because FHA is going to be like, oh no, we're not lending for that. If you're not fixing this, no deal, right? You got to get it done. But so yeah, that's step 4. You're going to get your numbers, and you get your numbers from your consultant and your contractor. They go in conjunction. So you're going to be hiring your consultant, you're going to be hiring your contractor, you're going to be getting the numbers on how much it's going to cost you to renovate the home to how you want it. And then from there, you're going to see, okay, all right, maybe I don't need this. Maybe I could take like these 3 things off and let's see what it looks like. Or you're going to be like, oh, I got more room. Let's do more project, right? So that's step 4. And yeah, I will see you guys for step 5. Again, be sure to tune into the 203K Done Your Way YouTube channel. You can head over there right now. Head over there right now and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and ring the bell so that way you'll be notified whenever a new show hits. 203K Tuesday at 7 o'clock every Tuesday, except for the Tuesday between Christmas and New Year's. I actually take that one off, do a little time off. But yeah. Tune in, y'all. Some good information, great people that I'm introducing you guys to. And don't want you to miss it, man. You're going to be learning something from everybody that comes on the show, even if it's just that one gem. That one gem could be a game changer for you. So that's all I got. I'm out. Oh, wait, that's not all I got. Last. For more information, go to www.203k. That's the zero, not the O, like the letter. 203k doneyourway.com. If you want to call, you can give us a call at 844-YES-203K. 844-YES-203K. Instagram, well, you're here now, so you see it, but at 203K Done Your Way. Same thing on Facebook. And I don't think I created Twitter or LinkedIn. No, I didn't do that. Yeah, I didn't do that. All right, so I'm out for real. See ya.
All right, guys, there you have it. There it is. Step 4, to get your rough estimate to go ahead and start interviewing your consultant if you're doing a standard K and or those contractors with regardless of which K you're doing, whether it be limited or standard. So look, really important that you nail down this step. I mean, each step along the process is important, right? But this one is where you really can see if you have a deal or not, or if you think you have a deal or not, because once we start peeling back those layers of the onion, we realize sometimes, hey, this is not as good of a deal as we thought it was, right? But going into the situation, you want to be as sure as you possibly can. So, a couple things. Best way to find a consultant. Well, I won't say the best way, but one of the ways you can find a consultant is just go to your search engine, type in 203K consultant or HUD consultant or 203K HUD consultant, like any type of combination of that. And what will happen is you're going to look for the site that says HUD.gov. So whatever is at the beginning, HUD.gov, definitely .gov at the end, but it should be HUD.gov. It may be the very top if it's not an ad in front of it, but look for the one that says HUD.gov on there. You'll go in there, you'll select your state, and it'll give you a list of the licensed consultants in that area. Now, keep in mind that list, it may be a little dated, right? Some of the people on there may not be doing it anymore. That's up to you to find out. And what you want to do is look for the person with the lowest number, right? Lowest number is longest tenure. That's the person who's been doing it the longest in that particular area. And typically what that means is they've seen a lot. They've been through some cases. It doesn't necessarily guarantee that, right? They could have just got their license and done one per year, right? So, of course, if you've done one per year for 20 years and somebody's been out for 2 years and they've done two per month, you know what I mean? So they've seen a little more. But the person with in the first example, who's done one per year, although they've seen a lot of changes throughout that 20-year period, as far as like actual projects, they may not have. But typically, if they have been around for a while, they've probably seen it all, or close to it, right? From the various projects they've worked on. So remember, lowest number, longest tenure. All right. Also, try to remember to kind of temper your request. Especially when it comes to the folks who are doing the refinance, because I find that is when they really kind of just like, oh, I could do this and I could do that and I could do this and I could do that. Why didn't you tell me? Oh my goodness, I want to do that too, right? So, a prime example, I got a couple clients now. It's taking us a while to get them to closing because they keep changing, they keep adding things onto the scope of work, right? We've gone through a couple contractors as far as you're supposed to get your competitive bids, right?
And they keep adding stuff on and changing stuff. I'm like, well, you're gonna never get to the table. One finally closed last week, so that's good. Got one more to work on, but just what I mean, just temper it, right? Because yes, you can get whatever you can afford, whatever works for your budget, whatever equity point you're at right now, as far as your house is concerned. Um, yeah, you can get that, and just remember, you're using the equity or projected equity of the home to increase the value, right? So it's a great investment, but you can mess it up. Like, don't go around putting a whole bunch of, ooh, I want these, I want that. Well, let me take that back. It's your house. Do what you want, right? Whatever makes you comfortable, that's perfectly okay. However, also consider the fact that at some point in time in life, whether we're here or not, the house may get sold. And you want it to appeal to the vast majority if you can help it, because that creates competition. Competition creates the market that we're in now, right? Where you have low inventory, high competition, which means prices go up. So if you want to sell for the most, make sure your house appeals to the most. So that's the only point I'm making. Well, that's the main point I'm making, but also just don't go crazy picking out this, picking out that. All right, temper those things, and we should be good to go. So that's all I got for you guys this week. Remember, step 4, you are checking out those contractors, you're checking out those consultants, and you are putting yourself in position to make a solid offer on a property that you've identified. So that's all I got for you guys this week, and I'll see you next week for the next step. Signing out.